Hey everyone, welcome to another video of mine. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite shows of all time, which is Dragon Ball Z, like you didn't already know by the title and all this stuff. Anyway, I thought I'd make this video of like my Dragon Ball Z story, how I got into it, what I loved about it, and what it meant to me as a kid. So when I was really young, the first time I ever heard about Dragon Ball Z, I grew up in New Zealand by the way, was from my brother. And this was before Dragon Ball Z even came to New Zealand or Australia. And he had some Japanese friends that lived across the road from us. And he would go to their house and watch Dragon Ball Z. They had imported like the dubbed version or... because this is before internet was a big thing where you could download TV shows or anything. I'm talking like 1998 or 97 maybe. And so he would come and talk to me about this show Dragon Ball Z, and like I just didn't really care. Anyway, a couple of years later, maybe a year later, 99, 2000, some of my friends started talking about Dragon Ball Z, and this is when it started showing on TV over there. And I used to just get annoyed at it, and I would be like, oh, it's so stupid, like why would you watch that? I'd never seen an episode. So I used to kind of hate on my friends for liking it. I don't know why, stupid kid. And then it wasn't until high school, so Dragon Ball Z had been airing for a couple of years, and I think every time they got to a certain saga, once it caught up to whatever Funimation, or at the time the Ocean dub, had released, it would go back to the beginning, so the dubbed version could catch up. So it'd be the Saiyan arc, and then start from the start again, into the Namek arc, and then to the Frieza arc, and so on and so on. And so I missed all of that. And it wasn't until 2001 in high school, I had a TV in my room. I would have been 13 or 14 at the time. And I don't know what it was, I don't know why, but I turned on the TV and the first episode of the Saiyan arc, or of Dragon Ball Z, was airing. So it just started repeating again, and I managed to catch the very first episode, and I just watched it. I don't know why. And next day I watched the second episode, and I think I was just hooked instantly. And so every single day after school, I think it would air at 4 or 4:30, go into my bedroom, shut the door, and just sit on the, I think I sat on the ground or maybe the end of my bed, I can't remember, and just watched Dragon Ball Z for half an hour. And I was just like fixated on it, like engrossed. So I had a friend at school, and we weren't really good friends, but he was a bit of a nerd, and he was actually watching Dragon Ball Z online. He was watching the subbed version, and so he had seen all of it. He had seen all of Dragon Ball Z, and I think he was watching Dragon Ball GT at that point. I remember every day in maths and just like get information out of him about what was happening next, and like, who's this character? I remember not knowing the characters' names at the beginning. Like, oh, the green guy, Big Green. And so he would laugh and be like, oh, Piccolo. And then he would tell me about, oh yeah, so there's going to be like an android and all this stuff. And then he would talk about Buu, and I had just no clue what he was talking about. So probably after getting into the Frieza arc and the Cell arc, and I was able to watch it straight through without having to repeat until it got to the Buu arc, and to the androids and the Cell arc. I was just obsessed with this show, like full on obsessed. I had an after school job, and I would spend my money on just Dragon Ball Z posters, and I'd go to like New Zealand's version of Comic Con, which was called Armageddon in Auckland, and I think I went to 2 of those, and I got to meet the voice of Gohan and young Goku in the original and in GT, and Stephanie, I can't remember her last name, Stephanie, but I got her to do the Kamehameha wave, and she loved it. She said, I love it when people ask me to do this, and she was just so cool, and she did it in front of me, and it was just perfect, and got her autograph, and it was just such a cool experience. And you know, just spending all my money on Dragon Ball Z stuff, and my whole entire room was just plastered in Dragon Ball Z posters. I spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on Dragon Ball Z posters. I worked in this corner store. This is pretty bad. I worked in this corner store, and at the time, they had released this album in Australia and New Zealand, this Dragon Ball Z sticker collector's album. And this isn't the original one I've got. This is actually one that's brand new and hasn't been used or anything. Still got the poster inside. I had this poster on my wall. And so this little corner store that I was working in, they sold the stickers to these books. So I did the cleaning after work, and I would just steal like packs and packs of stickers, and I ended up filling up the whole book. I think I had like a few that I just couldn't get, and you could write to the people and put some money in the envelope or a money order and get the remaining stickers. So I ended up filling up mine. Hopefully it's still at my mum's house. Next time I go back to New Zealand, I'm gonna see if it's there and pick it up. And I used to babysit next door and use their printer to print like just Dragon Ball Z pictures. And I had this massive mirror in my room, and I just covered the whole thing in Dragon Ball Z pictures. Just full on obsessed. Like, it was my life. I just couldn't get enough. I had the original Budokai on PlayStation 2. Oh, and I remember my brother used to live in a city. He would have been like 19 or 20 at the time, maybe a bit older. I would have been 16. And he would take me to Blockbuster. And I remember like just the animation section and seeing the History of Trunks VHS, and I remember just like I remember getting like an adrenaline rush, like thinking, oh my god, what the hell is this? So I'd never heard of this, and I was like, oh my god, like the History of Trunks. And I think I just watched the Cell Saga, or it might have been amongst the Android Saga as I found the History of Trunks, and it may have been the double version, or the Story of Bardock was there as well, and I think I got both of them. And so we went back to my brother's house, and I remember actually he was house sitting for his boss, and so we went back to their house, and I remember just like putting the VCR and just like being engrossed in the History of Trunks and just rewatching it, and in the morning watching it again. And it was like the best thing that I'd ever seen in my life. Same with the Story of Bardock. And I remember there was a couple of movies, like going back to my brother's again, and going back to Blockbuster and finding like a couple of the original movies, like The Tree of Might, or The Dead Zone, or The World's Strongest. And I remember just being like in the dark, like in front of the TV, just watching this movie, and it was like just this, it was just incredible, the feeling of it. I don't know what it was, I can't explain it, but I know people like me that watched and experienced Dragon Ball Z for the first time, because we had nothing like that growing up. I think they know what I'm talking about. So at this point, that was my peak Dragon Ball Z obsession. The show wasn't just a show for me, like it was a bit more than that. Like, I had a bit of a complicated life growing up. I don't want to be like, oh, pity, like poor me. We weren't very wealthy at all. I had a good childhood, but there were issues surrounding my childhood that weren't good. At the time, it didn't seem like a big deal, but looking back, I was like, man, that was a pretty messed up situation I was in at some points. But it was fine. I wasn't traumatized or anything. But there were moments where Dragon Ball Z was an escape to all of that. That obsession that I had in that half an hour after school, it was just an escape from everything. It was just so nice to like block everything out that may have been going on at the time that wasn't that great. And for a 14-year-old kid to even older, 14, 15, 16, something like that was just really nice to have. I had some really good friends as well, so they helped as well with things. But Dragon Ball Z was perfect for me at the time. It was something I needed, I think. So a couple of years ago, when Super was out and came out and everything, I decided to rewatch everything. And I had seen bits in a couple of the Dragon Ball sagas from the original series. I hadn't watched GT at all. So I went back and rewatched all of Dragon Ball, had a huge appreciation for that. I think that was as good as Dragon Ball Z in some regards. And rewatching Dragon Ball Z, and it proved that it wasn't just a nostalgic thing that, because, I'd always think about it and think, oh, would I like it still if I watched it as an adult now? And I really did. Like, there was nothing that I didn't like about it. I still got engrossed in it. There was things that I forgot about the series that I was like, oh my god, that's how they got to Namek, that sort of thing. Like, it was Bulma, she helped out, and favorite characters changed as an adult. Back as a kid, my favorite character was probably Gohan, up until the Cell Saga. I just like the whole growth and evolution of his character. It was really cool. Goku, always a great favorite. Piccolo, Vegeta, of course. But then as an adult, I really like Bulma. I really like Bulma, especially after rewatching Dragon Ball. She was the key to so much that went on in the series. I mean, she discovered Goku. Like I said, she got them to Namek. She got Trunks back into that timeline and back again. And, she did so much for it all. But, she was just... So she's actually in my top 3 now. Bulma is one of my favorite characters. Gohan is still one of my favorites. Goku, of course. And so, after rewatching these, I watched GT for the first time and I watched all of Super. And, there were some issues. And saying this, back when I was a kid, I started to stop watching during the DBZ Saga, because after I finished the Cell Saga, that's when it went back to the beginning and had to go through it again. And so I think I missed the first few episodes of the DBZ Saga, so I wasn't sure what was going on, with the Great Saiyaman Saga and all of that sort of stuff. I was sort of a bit flaky. I was a bit older. I think at that time I would have been 17 or 18. And I just it didn't feel right for me. It was a bit it didn't continue like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z had. Everything sort of followed one after the other. It could have finished at the Frieza Saga, but I think it rounded off Gohan's character perfect. And the Android Saga, before the Cell games and everything, the Android Saga was just so good. So good. I loved the mysteriousness of everything and the build up to everything. It was just perfect. But anyway, yeah, in the DBZ Saga, and Goten and Trunks, they became Super Saiyan as kids, and Super Saiyan 3 came along, and there just wasn't as much of an impact with that sort of stuff as there had been in the past. And, Gohan had just faded into this character and just never became that good again. But then when I did rewatch it as an adult, there was a new appreciation for that. I still had the same criticisms for it, but I like the whole lore of the Kais and everything like that. And I think how they ended Vegeta's character in the end, when he sort of accepts that Goku is number one, and you just see his character. He had the best character building in the DBZ Saga, and I think that's why the DBZ Saga was needed to finish off Vegeta's character. And to see how he is in the DBZ Saga as a dad, that moment with Trunks when he blows himself up, and then finally admitting that Goku is number one, and he's happy with that, and he's smiling, and he's content with life, and I think that was great, and I think that's why the DBZ Saga was needed. But there was just things that I think could have been done better. But anyway, carrying on, GT. Yeah, I really liked Goku's character in GT. Even as a kid, I think he had become, you could tell he was a bit more serious about things. So I really liked that. I thought that was good. Yeah, the ending of GT was great. I think they ended it really well. But yeah, there was a lot of issues. I found the first half of it was... They'd gone back to the Dragon Ball roots of adventure, and that was cool, but it sort of just dragged on for me, and it wasn't that exciting. But I didn't hate it. Some people really hate on it, and I enjoyed a lot of moments out of it. Super, I struggled with. I'll be honest, I really struggled with Super. I didn't like what they did with some of the characters, like Goku just being, like, I know people say, oh, that's how he was in the, like, dubbed version or the manga, but it isn't. That's not how he was. Yeah, like, he wasn't as heroic as he was in the Z dubbed, Funimation dub. Like, yeah, he wasn't like, I am the, whatever, hero of this earth, or whatever he said in that speech to Frieza. Like, yeah, that wasn't true. That wasn't his character. But he wasn't an idiot like he is in Super. And I couldn't get past that. And it really, like, honestly, I know people get really passionate about this, but it ruined Goku for me. And I hated him. I hate him in Super. Like, I'm sorry. I think the original Bulma, the voice actor for Bulma, Tiffany Bulma, I think she is the best Bulma. Like, I can't, I struggle with her character now. Like, she seems different. I don't know if she is, but the voice actor makes her feel different. I think Tiffany Bulma was really great as Bulma. I know she was different I think she was different in Kai, but yeah, I'm old school, I'm nostalgic. Rock the Dragon and the original Funimation dub is my jam. I love the fillers. I love it. Yeah, so I struggle with Super, but I do appreciate that it has a strong fan base and that these new fans are going and watching Dragon Ball Z and the original Dragon Ball, and they're discovering these things for themselves. So I really like that about how Super has just awoken a lot of fans, new fans, and brought old fans back into the fold as well. So I like that. I don't hate that it exists or anything. It's just, and I'll watch it, and I will watch new movies and stuff, because there are definitely moments that I like in Super. But yeah, and another thing, just with the transformations, there's just, and this started in the DBZ Saga, so it just carried on with that sort of stuff, but it just doesn't mean much anymore. Like, I remember when watching Goku go into Ultra Instinct, like, I just didn't get that feeling. I was like, like another transformation, like, I was just expecting it. But anyway, I'm not hating on it. Like, if you like it, that is awesome. I'm really glad that you like it and watch it, and I will continue supporting it by watching it and watching the movies as well that come out. So one thing I really want to do is I've only read little tidbits of the manga. I'm going to buy the whole, like, hard copy of the manga of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and read all of it. I've heard that they're just a lot better, a lot more violent, which is what I like. Like, I saw one thing in the manga of Dragon Ball Z, and I think it's Dr. Gero, like, strangles someone and, like, crushes their neck or something like that. Just looks really cool, and we didn't get that in the anime. So things like that I'm really looking forward to reading. But yeah, so that's my Dragon Ball Z story, guys. Let me know what Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, or Dragon Ball Super means to you, and if it had a personal effect on you as well, like it did with me. Because I'm loving getting back into it. Like, I'm loving all the nostalgia and stuff, and it's not just that. Like, I really love this show. It means a lot to me, more than any other show, I reckon. Like, back in when I was a very young kid, like, I was a huge Simpsons fan of the 90s, and that was my obsession as a kid. And then Dragon Ball Z came along, and whoa, that just blew it out of the water. And so that's my story. And look, I've even got a Goku phone cover on my phone case. So yeah, there you go. Still representing Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. So hope you enjoyed the video, guys. This is the longest one I've done, I think. And yeah, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye.